Before we get to our guests, our weekly topic is financial wisdom and pathways to security and wealth management. Now, is your family on the right path to financial security? Okay, this is my show, the New Underground Railroad Express. Next stop is your neighborhood. All aboard to freedom and freedom land. But before we meet our guests, a little bit of history, because our guest stands on some shoulders of some very strong African American women. The date, it's March the 26th. It's 1785. It's a Saturday. Eleanor Eldridge was born on this date in 1785. She was a black entrepreneur. Eldridge was from Warwick, Rhode Island, the youngest of 7 daughters and 2 sons born to Hannah and Robin Eldridge. Her father and 2 uncles, Africans, bought to Rhode Island on a slave ship, earned their freedom by fighting in the American Revolutionary War. They had been promised 200 acres of land in New York. Instead, they were given a worthless sum. Her father was eventually able to save for the purchase of a small parcel of land and build a home in Warwick. Her mother was part Indian, died when she was 10. Much to her father's disdain, young Eldridge began washing clothes as a live-in servant for the Baker family of Warwick, one of her mother's former clients. This young girl, a favorite of Eleanor Baker, her namesake, made 25 cents a week doing laundry for the family. She also became skilled at spinning, arithmetic, and weaving, and became an accomplished weaver by age 14. 3 years later, Eldridge began working as a dairywoman for the family of Captain Benjamin Green. She quickly became well known for her premium quality cheeses. When Eldridge was 19, her father died, and she put her skills and savvy to use settling his estate. She continued to work for Captain Green for 5 more years until his death. Eldridge then went to live with her sisters in Adams, Massachusetts. While there, she and her brothers and sisters started a business of weaving, washing, and soap boiling. Money from that venture enabled Eldridge to buy land and build a house which she rented for $40 per year. After 3 years, she returned to Providence, where she contracted herself out for whitewashing, wallpapering, and painting during warm months, and laundering and miscellaneous work for private families, hotels, boarding houses during the winters. By 1822, she had saved enough money to purchase another lot and built, for $1,700, a house for herself and a renter. While Eldridge did not marry, she made her mark in the community as an entrepreneurial force. Her work was highly praised, and she was much respected. Within 5 years, she bought 2 more lots and a house in Warwick. In 1831, at the age of 46, Eldridge suffered from her second bout with typhus fever. But while recuperating Eldridge's condition, a rumor circulated that she had died. Upon her return several months later, Eldridge discovered that a deceitful opportunist had petitioned to have all her property sold to pay off a $240 loan she had acquired just before illness. The sale never combined her properties, which were valued at more than $4,000 and were illegally auctioned off without family notification. She was able to claim rights to the property, and Eldridge took her case to court to expose the law officials who lied about the process. Outraged friends charged that such theft would have never happened to a white man, and certainly not a white woman. During this time, despite her own troubles, Eldridge did not abandon her desire for caregiving. During a Providence cholera epidemic in 1832, many families escaped to rural areas in seeking safety. Eldridge escorted a family to Pomfret, Connecticut, where she cared for their sick child. In 1837, she represented herself in court and was able to regain her property for $2,700 in an out-of-court settlement. Eldridge wrote Memoirs of Eleanor Eldridge. in 1838. The book is one of few narratives of free blacks in the 1800s. It is believed that Eldridge died in 1865 at the age of 80. Wow, what a story. What an incredible woman. An entrepreneur, a free black woman in the 1785. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I want to hear from you. Let's connect the dots because this is some wonderful stuff. Let's make sense out of it all. Let's talk. Let's call me. 347-884-9839. But tonight, I have a very special featured call-in guest that's joining me in the studio. I've been trying to get this person on my show for the last 3 years, and this is since I've been on the air for 3 years. Her name is Sabrina Lamb. Now, Sabrina and I go way, way back, somewhere late in the 20th century. But since 2005, Sabrina is the author, and author Sabrina Lamb has been the founding chief executive officer of the worldofmoney.org. Now, imagine what she does. A lending provider of financial education of youth in the New York City tri-state area. She is a 2014 and 45th NAACP Image Awards nominee in Outstanding Literary Work, instructional for her book, Do I Look Like an ATM? A Parent's Guide to Raising Financially Educated African American Children. It goes on. Sabrina Lamb, welcome to the BCS Experience. I have a good friend in the studio. Stephen Pollak has joined me. But Sabrina, this is your story this evening. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Sabrina, we go way, way back. Now, see, I know you now as this financial guru and wizard helping people, young people in the money capital of our country, understand financial management. I take my hat off to you because the person that I knew and met in Atlanta, Georgia, somewhere back in 1980-something, was a young, aspiring actress who later became a comic for Def Comedy, who now is this financial guru. Tell us about how did all this happen, Sabrina?
Well, first of all, I now dislike you for mentioning how many numbers or how long I've known you.
But you're still young and beautiful. How did you do this?
Well, I knew you when I was 4.
Okay.
And you were 45.
Exactly.
That's how it's going to go. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I know that's right. See? But along the way, you became interested in teaching.
I've had a couple of lives.
Yes.
And I still have a couple of lives. I mean, I never believe that you should only do one thing. You can have your career, and then you can have your means of service in creating value on this planet. And my focus has always been with working with young people, right, either inspiring them or annoying them, which I think is basically the same thing. And so 9 years ago, and I can't believe it's been 9 years, yes, I was in attendance to a financial education workshop for myself. Mm-hmm. And sometimes in life you receive an epiphany that takes you in a direction you just never thought you would go.
Yes.
And so this epiphany, this whisper said, what if children were receiving the same kind of information that you're learning this weekend? And then the second question was, how different would your life have been if you had received financial education as a child? And so I went, huh? What? What? And so I started to think about that, and I grew up with amazing parents. My father was in the military. My right, mother was a stay-at-home mom, yes, and we traveled the world. My father, he had the mindset that the discussion of money in the household was grown folks' business, while doting on me in terms of, or letting me know he was the head of the household and he would take care of everything and I didn't have to worry about anything. And then on the other side, my mother, was under the delusion that she was a duchess, and she wasn't a duchess, but she thought she was a duchess, meaning she could spend, and she did spend on whatever. So obviously that caused conflict, and and as a child, I love manipulating the different types of parental money styles that my own parents had, so that I could get what I want, the new doll, the new shoes, whatever it took. That's what I wanted. And so, I would manipulate that situation all the way to the mall. And then I had doting grandparents on both sides who, when I visited them in Miami, Florida every summer, it was shopping time. It was never saving, investing, donating time. Right. It was time to spend.
So you had your lessons training in spending money, but saving money and investing money came from a different source. So tell us about that, Sabrina.
Well, I mean, they said save, as an aside, right. But not as, Sabrina, you really should save some of that, and then we'll go to the mall. Right. And so, but this is how. I'm not saying this to demonize my family, my parents at all. I'm saying this is how they never received the instruction on how to properly manage money. Right. This is how they showed how much they loved me. But children, I always say, and I write this, that's the thesis of my book, children are nothing but financial terrorists. They are sociopaths, meaning they could care less. Your children will not sit down with you and say, can we discuss your retirement, Mom and Dad? They could care less. All thing they want is what they want until someone else puts a stop to it. Right. And so, when I, merged into adulthood and started receiving bills in my name, I just thought, how dare these debt collectors call me and ask me for their money or for me to honor their agreements? How insulting is that, Byron?
I know.
I mean, really.
Really? Why would they want to do that? Listen, I got to take a break. I got to take a break here, Sabrina. And when we come back, I got two callers on the line. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, because this is an incredible journey in which you have taken, and now you're a guru. I mean, you are literally the place where their parents need to send their kids to learn about financial wealth management. My goodness. Anyway, folks, don't go away. We'll be right back. You're listening to the BCS Experience on the GoPro Radio Network.
The views and opinions expressed on GoPro Radio Network shows are solely those of the speakers and are not necessarily the views or opinions of GoPro Radio Networks, Inc. or its affiliates. These broadcasts are provided on the understanding that they do not constitute professional advice or services. Individuals who speak in these broadcasts express their own opinions, experiences, and conclusions. GoPro Radio Networks and its affiliates do not necessarily endorse or oppose any particular opinion or conclusion discussed in these broadcasts. You may not edit, modify, or redistribute these broadcasts in any way without the express permission of GoPro Radio Networks, Inc. GoPro Radio Networks assumes no liability for any of your activities in connection with these broadcasts or for your use of these broadcasts in connection with your website, computer, or playing device.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
All right, we're back on the BCS Experience, and I've got my dear friend Sabrina Lamb, who's written a wonderful, wonderful book where she's literally teaching young folks about financial wealth management. She's got a terrific book. It's out, Do I Look Like an ATM? A Parent's Guide to Raising Financially Educated African American Children. So, Sabrina, we're back. And you're you're here, and I want to know that moment where inspiration hit you like the apostrophe or the epiphany that you said hit you to start wealth management training for young folks. How did that come about?
Well, it didn't come about. It just hit me like a rock in the head, really. Okay. And it's been the crown jewel of my life. That was in December 2005. 5 months later, we had our first class of children who attended the World of Money Youth Financial Education Institute in New York City. And every year we increase the numbers of children that we teach. They're not workshops. I need to underscore that. They are not workshops. It's an institute where they receive 40 classroom hours of instruction from Wall Street professionals.
Right.
We have managing directors, financial advisors, CEOs, partners in law firms, giving all of their wisdom to children starting at age 7 up into 18. And the way that I view it, this is the most urgent issue on the planet, Byron,
yes.
Because and everyone that's listening, because it's not about, our curriculum is holistic in its approach, meaning it's not an instruction on greed and hoarding. It's instruction in terms of how to harness one of the most powerful currencies on this planet, and that is money, love, and your religious practice. And for generations, people who look like me have been on the outside of this discussion. And as I say to parents, if you don't understand or learn, and your children generationally do not understand how to harness this thing called money, you will always be on the menu as opposed to at the table.
Wow, that's a very powerful statement, Sabrina. And I got two callers on the line, and I'm going to bring them in because I know that they're very fascinated with the topic. Good evening, area code 718. I think I know who this is. Good evening. Welcome to the BCS Experience. And who might you be? 718.
God bless you. How are you?
Oh, grace and peace. It's Reverend Dr. DLC Boyce from Let's Talk You. Welcome. And I've got 240 on. I do believe I know this person. Welcome. Is this my good friend in Maryland, Linda?
Yes, it is. Good evening. How are you? And how's everyone on the show today?
Well,
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Indeed. Now, Dr. Boyce and Linda and Stephen, as little kids, were you all financial terrorists?
My mother wouldn't agree with that. She would not.
Did you beg for everything that you know you did?
No,
Linda, as a child,
I had
you were in your parents' pockets day in and day out, right? Linda, no, you didn't spend all their money. You didn't want that dolly. You didn't want that next dolly. Dr. Boyce, how about you?
Well, there were certain cultural mores.
Yes.
And there were certain understandings. Now, in terms of the cultural mores, it was that everyone had to have a leather coat and Fred Braun shoes. And so, in order for you to fit, with everyone, you did that. I was blessed because my mother, she sewed, and she was excellent. She could make coats and dresses and, interior design, that kind of thing.
Yes.
But I understood, on the other hand, what our economic status was. And so I know my mother worked very, very hard. So I tried not to be such a terrorist. I tried not to be.
All right. See, Sabrina, little kids don't even realize what they do to their parents, and they back us up into a corner when we take them to the mall. They give you that doe-eyed look, and it's like, please, mommy, please, daddy, please, daddy, please.
And Byron, you know who I'm hearing from a lot? I'm hearing from single moms.
Yes.
Who feel that they need to acquiesce to the demands of their requests of their children,
right?
And they do this because they feel they're trying to fill the emptiness from that that absent parent.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, that sends the wrong message. It sends the message, number one, and I outline in my book the different parental types. My book is really for parents as opposed to children, because parents are kind of like, they need support. But, a lot of parents are sending messages to their children that the parent believes that they should martyr themselves.
Wow.
And I think that That's the wrong message to send to your child.
Yes.
You know, you should just say to your child, look, I can have another one of you, all right? But you can't have another one of me. And so, but a lot of parents, and particularly mothers, women, are martyring themselves by the child wants another pair of sneakers.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to say this before I forget. About a decade ago, when I created World of Money, it started across this country where we started to see lines of people of color standing outside of stores, waiting for the stores to open to buy that one thing.
Right.
And I'm here to say to you and everyone listening that what that is emotional spending, because they feel if I buy that one more thing that is 9 times out of 10 is not worth what you're paying for it, that they're trying to fill the emptiness inside. Right. And now we see young children of color are standing outside these sneaker stores buying things, these items that have zero value. Exactly. And then on the other side, we hear people screaming, well, we want jobs. Well, if you want jobs, then you stop spending with people, or the majority of your spending with people who don't look like you, and stop spending your money when you say you don't have it on items that have zero resale value.
Wow.
And so that's what I said at the beginning in terms of what we teach at World of Money is trying to tarnish this thing, this $1 trillion that our community is going to squander this year.
Yes.
And then we can't either we want jobs or we don't want jobs, but our children are just consumers. We are the consumers of the world. We make other people rich. That's
exactly
who we are.
Right. We spend $1.7 trillion annually, and when you look up and see those Nikes and Adidas hanging from a lamppost, you know, you realizing, wow, that's $200 up there on that lamppost and not on my kid's feet. It's
and
incredible.
No one talks about how those purchases really subsidize child slavery in other parts of the world.
Say that one more time.
So,
say that one more time.
Wow.
Sabrina, say that one more time. Wow. Subsidizing what?
I said that those purchases, first of all, everything that we make, everything that we wear is made abroad. But when we're talking about the things the items that our children are obsessed with, or I should say taught to be obsessed with by adults, they're made by children who are in Thailand and in Asia and so forth, who work 12 hours a day trying to feed our consumption. Now, if that $1 trillion, if we took that $1 trillion and bought land, it would be a whole nother discussion on this planet about everything.
That's why I started the show off with that incredible story about Miss, Eleanor Eldridge. Yeah. Imagine that story. That's not a movie identifying the desire of a young woman who is pulling herself up by her bootstraps. Ironing, saving money, investing her money wisely. This was a free black woman in 1700s. Oh my gosh. Okay? And we got kids walking around here today with their pants down below their knees.
They don't know what time it is.
They don't know. They have no idea. But I love the way you framed that, Sabrina, about engaging them in a understanding that those shoes are being made by some slave labor. That's a child who's getting paid 25 cents an hour, if that much.
Maybe that, and when it comes to electronics and Apple products, it's well documented how these children try to, commit suicide, and throw themselves off the roofs of the factories in order to feed our consumption.
Wow.
And so when I tell these stories to children, it gets real quiet in the room.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Well, listen, this organization, worldofmoney.org, is no fly-by institution. Sabrina Lamb has built an amazing organization where she's got financial experts coming in from Wall Street, teaching about stocks and bonds, real estate investment, insurance, you name it, wealth management. In fact, the company is doing so well that They have presided. Now, this is one of the. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Another organization like this, like yours, Sabrina, that has presided over NASDAQ opening and closing ceremonies down on Wall Street. Okay,
4 times.
4 times. Four
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's real. So it's really important. I remember those days that we did that. It's really important for the world to see the images of my children, and all children are my children. To helm the opening and closing ceremony of a stock exchange, because we're only perceived in terms of standing in line buying something stupid like sneakers, and so we've got to reshift this.
Yes, we
And
do.
our children are only doing what they're being, led to do by adults, and they're trying to fill the emptiness of, emptiness in their soul. It's all emotional spending, all of it.
Exactly. I understand and know exactly what you mean, because when I was a young man, teenager, young Byron in Washington, D.C., I remember going to the store to buy tennis shoes, and my mom and dad, who worked for the federal government, said, "Okay, here's the deal, son, PF Flyers or Kids, U.S. Kids." I said, "But Mom, Dad, I'm a teenager. I want those All-Stars, Chuck Taylor All-Stars." Now the difference in price, not $200, mind you. PF Flyers were like $3 or $4. U.S. Kids, like about $5 or $6, and we're talking about Chuck Taylor's, $10, $11, $12, high tops, low tops. But it was still the concept of designer wear, higher.
Absolutely.
See,
and Byron, I would love to dovetail on what you just said,
Yes.
because the other thought that I'm also hearing is that I remember years ago, and every year there's going to be a kid that I have to reshape the mush in their brain and in their spirit rather, because anytime you say, well, we should all save, invest, everybody nods, and then we go off and do something different. But children started to say to me that they didn't believe that they deserve to be financially secure. They believed that experience was for somebody else, those people in the sky. And so we've got to dig deep. This is not an intellectual discussion. This is a discussion about who we believe that we are and our value as human beings. Now, if you don't believe that you have any value as a person, then you're not going to save a ding-dang cent, because you don't believe that you're worth saving.
That's right. Well, listen, I got to take another break here. When we're going to come back, we're going to go to the YouTube version of your organization and really hear what CNN and other financial wizards are saying about your effort to train and teach these young folks. So, folks, listening to the BCS Experience on the GoPro Radio Network. We'll be right back.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have a product or service, a talent or something important to say, now's your chance to have your own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We'll help you to grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 212-696-8562 today or visit www.goproradio.com, and you'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your own radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio. Listen to the voices in your head.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
All right, we're back. This is Byron C. Saunders on the BCS Experience. I've got my wonderful friends, Sabrina Lamb, featured call-in guest, head of the organization worldofmoney.org. Sabrina, we're going to go to the YouTube selection that you've sent me. I think this is so important. Take a listen to this, folks.
We really, really applaud the work that World of Money is
We
doing.
are bullish on World of Money.
Impact of knowing how to manage your finances makes such a long-term impact on your kids and their kids, and I think that's why this organization is so important to the community.
World of Money has 5 basic pillars. It's learn, earn, save, invest, and donate.
My favorite thing to say to us was, you guys are here, and this is where we want your goal to be. This is where we want you to be, because we know you are capable of doing it. No one is unable, no one is stupid.
At World of Money, we believe that when you spend quality time with children, you increase the wealth of the world, because although children are only 20% of the population, they are 100% of our future.
I am determined to be a contributing member of society through my finances and my philanthropic actions.
Each year, my mutual fund award will be given to 2 students so that they can create mutual fund accounts to get future wealth. It is my hope that they will be philanthropists just like I am.
Inside every classroom is a tangible aspiration to succeed. We have been inspired to be financially independent, to invest in stocks and bonds instead of working at Burger King, to save our money instead of spending it. We have been inspired to be the next generation of millionaires and billionaires, to be producers, not consumers.
All right, there you have it, Sabrina. Oh.
Yes.
Sabrina, I'm impressed.
Tenfold.
Tenfold.
Dr. Boyce, let's bring in my callers, the other callers. Dr. Boyce, Linda, what can you say?
It was, I can't see the screening as you know, because I have a problem with my computer, but from what I heard, it sounds like this is an excellent program, and so I applaud you. I really do. I wanted to make a point before the break. Our esteem is so low that we invest millions of dollars to feel better about ourselves, when if we had a more structured framework about finances, like what I heard, I think we can raise the next generation of those who will be real leaders in understanding the value of currency and the value of God, and then the value of currency.
Absolutely. Well, our children are waiting. Some of them don't know they're waiting, but they're waiting for the adults to give them the tools to run with it. And once you teach children, because I begin conversations with children with two things. Number one, how are you going to change the world? What value are you going to create in the world? And I wait for them to answer. And then the second thing is I tell them, well, you've been tricked out of all your money. I'm just telling you that right now. And so when you start there, you have their rapt attention. And I'm talking about as young as 7-year-olds, because they come into the world understanding. They've been watching parents and the adults in their life argue, fuss, kvetch about money. And so, they're waiting for someone to explain it to them. Now if there's, and children are just like I was, I would be the first one leading the brigade to go to the mall. But until we say, okay, child of mine, I didn't get this information, but we as a family, we're going to start having family meetings where we can discuss how to respect the money that we have in the household, and we're going to have a financial education ourselves. But many parents feel that they have to be the shining hero, and the shining hero can be vulnerable. Is what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say. It's okay to say to your child, "I don't know, but let's go together and find out."
Sabrina, let me ask you, because you probably have whet the appetite of 1,000 people already. where can they get this great educational financial experience? Tell them how to get in contact with your organization and all the details that go with it.
Well, the great news is that it's online. We are registering for the class of 2014. The institute operates in July, and parents can choose one of 3 weeks that they would like their child to attend. So the online registration is at worldofmoney.org. Just click the upper right-hand corner, and also we include with the curriculum web development, Mandarin Chinese, as well as Excel. When I speak to directors of admissions and people who are in the position to hire, if our children don't have this information on their resume, they are not going to be, they're not going to have access to be able to participate in this economy. And unfortunately, school systems are not teaching our children this information.
That's right. You're right.
So you just log on to worldofmoney.org. Space is available on a first-come basis. We graduated 125 children last year. We intend to increase that this year. But it's time for our children for us to pour into them everything they need to have or to be or to learn to prosper.
And how much does it cost?
The investment is $300 a year.
Wow.
And that's, 50 cents a day?
Practically.
And we are a charitable organization. This is a nonprofit charity, and it's valued at $1,500 a child, but we ask for $300.
Very good. And you have sponsors?
We have a few, but still. There's $300 for the first child. I think it's $275 for the second child. So the more children you bring to the table, the less investment it is. But it's really, really important that our children be able to connect with other children and leading Wall Street titans who are so compassionate that they want to share what they know with our children.
I was impressed with the video YouTube presentation because two of your philanthropists were less than 15 years old.
Correct.
Okay, giving money to aspiring and mentoring younger people from their own success story. That's
correct.
Incredible.
And to that point, Byron, I'm just a little bit sick. I'm sick and tired. We have to be, you hear that phrase, we have to be the change the world is waiting for. And our children have to be given the tools to be the next philanthropist for their families, for their communities. And so when we teach children how to do that, and Avery was just one example. He didn't know when he started coming to World of Money when he was 12. He's coming every single year. He's now 16. And he's just got accepted to a few schools, but just recently to Howard University, where he wants to major in engineering and be a philanthropist, is that he sends World of Money, our nonprofit charitable organization, $100 every year. And we take that $100, Byron, and he comes at the graduation ceremony that we have, celebrating the children's accomplishments. We award the top performer on the final exam the Avery Josiah Brown Mutual Fund Award.
Very
so
good.
This little child gives his cohort, his peers, the top peer in his class, a mutual fund award.
Wow.
That's they can
incredible.
Start to begin to build their own wealth.
That's so important. And I really salute you, Sabrina, because this is a passion in you that I've seen grow over the years. And I'm amazed. And it's a great thing that you're doing. And if you can invest $200 in a pair of sneakers, you certainly should be able to invest $300 for your child to become
or a hair weave.
Or a hair weave. and believe it or not, you gave me that. That's right, that hair weave. It was Sabrina. I have to give credit. She gave me that phrase, unbelievable.
I've heard that phrase.
See, in her Def Comedy Jam days, Sabrina is a fabulous actress. Now let me tell you about a little bit about this Sabrina person who's now financial guru. As an actress, when I reconnected with her in New York City, Sabrina came up to the Frank Silvera Writers Workshop. We had gotten a grant for a script written by Yvette Heiliger. Now, Yvette's been on this show. Yvette is a very famous playwright and has done great things. She's a Delco winner. She's doing the Moms Demand Action, anti-gun things. I mean, Yvette has done some wonderful things. But here, this 9-month pregnant woman comes up to Frank Silvera and says, "Can you help be me the financial conduit for a grant that I'm applying for?" I said, "Sure, we got it." She wrote a piece called Father's Day, okay, about incest and child abuse. A very heavy piece. Sabrina comes up to the audition and says, "I don't know about anybody else, but the role of the mother is mine." Oh. I'm like, okay, she came and claimed it. Now I'm the director now. Right. So I have to listen to that. I was like, all right, you're right. The role is yours. She did that Jedi mind trick on me, right? Okay. So I cast her. But here's what's incredible. The story. So that you can understand Sabrina's pedigree. She's good stuff. Right. The young girl who was the daughter, 11-year-old a daughter in the play, being performed and portrayed by a young 12-year-old Kerry Washington.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
For real.
For real. Okay. So we're not talking about somebody who's done little things. Sabrina's a very accomplished actress, comedian, been on Def Comedy. She's run the marathon in New York City 3 times, has been a radio personality, and now she's financially guiding young people down a path to management, wealth, and solvency. But you can't ask for much more.
That's
so Sabrina, you win this year's award, okay? Yeah. I am so proud of you.
Darling.
I am so proud of you, Sabrina.
Donald Trump, Bloomberg got nothing
Thank
on
you.
None of those guys are doing
That's
what
right.
None of them.
None of them. So we're got to take another break. But when we come back, I got 2 more history shoulders that this woman, Sabrina Lamb, stands on, which is why she is so incredibly phenomenal. She is a part of a trail of trailblazers.
Yep.
All right. So you're listening. Don't you like that?
I love my word.
So you're listening to the BCS Experience on the GoPro Radio Network. Folks, don't go away because we'll be right back.
GoPro Radio, the fastest growing network in the galaxy, is leaner and meaner with a new attitude, new technology, and a brand new lineup. Tune in and get wired every Wednesday, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern with the BCS Experience featuring Byron C. Saunders, formerly of New York City's WBAI. Then at 6 p.m., it's the Black Agenda TV Express featuring sought-out political commentator Glenn Ford, formerly of America's Black Forum. Then at 8 p.m., it's time for Kay Thompson Live with the legendary radio host Kay Thompson of Inner City Broadcasting's WLIB and her son, renowned actor Eric Payne, who starred in such films as Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, Drop Squad, and many more. Then at 9 p.m., it's Food Rap featuring Nina Markel, a.k.a. the unofficial mayor of Jersey City, and former Viacom marketing guru Shauna Glover. Last but not least, at 10 p.m. Eastern, it's The Sexy Party Show with the bad boy of dating Mr. Locario of I Love New York fame and his partner in crime, Miles Cunningham. So get wired every Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern only on the GoPro Radio Network, www.goproradio.com. Listen to the voices in your head.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
All right, we're back on the BCS Experience. A little bit of history before we get back to my featured guest. The year, the date, it's a Thursday. It's April the 13th, and the year is 1854. On this date, Lucy Laney was born. She was a black educator and pioneer in secondary education. From Macon, Georgia, Lucy Craft Laney's family purchased their freedom from slavery. Laney was educated at an American Missionary Association school, and at the age of 15, she entered Atlanta University. She graduated in 1873 with the school's first class of higher normal department students. With her teacher's training, she spent the next 10 years teaching in the Georgia public schools. She then opened her own smaller school in a Presbyterian church in Augusta, Georgia. The school grew rapidly and in 3 years received a Georgia charter as a normal and industrial school. As she successfully solicited money to expand her school, she also expanded a rigorous liberal arts curriculum. Laney named the school Hames Normal and Industrial Institute, and its most ardent supporter, Francine H. Haynes. Among those who passed through her school as students and teachers were John Hope and Mary McLeod Bethune. Laney continued her own education, taking classes every summer. Though the Depression caused severe financial difficulties, at its peak, Haynes had more than 900 students. The school ceased operations in 1949, 16 years after Laney's death, and on the site of the old school now stands Lucy C. Haney High School in tribute to her contributions to education. So you see, Sabrina Lamb stands on the shoulders of some very powerful women who've opened the doors, and she's one of those pioneers who continues to keep that door open, teaching, training, mentoring, and yes, even entertaining them. Sabrina, I can only imagine your classes are a blend of all that you are.
Oh, sure. My students think I'm nuts, which is fine. And that's just, we can have a good time while being strict and making them feel secure, and having high standards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So once again, down in Maryland there, let me bring in my friend Linda from down there in Washington, D.C. area. Linda, you are mentoring quite a few people yourself. Have you ever heard of a program like this before? Linda, are you there? Okay, I think she's playing possum on me, but that's okay. Sabrina, we have a few minutes left. I got about 8 minutes to go. And I want to, because I'm going to give a piece of history as we lead out, but let's talk about one more time, where can we lead people to you? How do we get them to get their kids this kind of great education?
Log on to worldofmoney.org.
Yes.
You can also call 888-945-8333. And the message will put you in touch with our parent coordinator. But the number is 888-945-8333. And the website is worldofmoney.org. We're on Facebook and Twitter.
And when's the next session going to start?
The Institute, we're registering for the July Institute now.
Yes, this is the time, folks, right now. Don't wait, don't delay. I imagine that space is limited, but you'll take as many as you possibly can. But
absolutely,
do your family the best, give them the best gift that you could possibly give them. Give them wealth management. Give your children the opportunity to succeed and sustain themselves, not just be a part of the family, but be a part of the family that's sustaining itself. We need more of this in our community right now. There's no reason to be impoverished as long as you understand and know how money works. So is there a mantra that you give your students, Sabrina, that you tell them, say that you live by this and this is how you're going to sustain and succeed? What's the message?
Our motto is learn, earn, save, invest, and donate.
There you go. I heard one of the kids say it. That's a very good model to live by. And donating,
Right.
giving back, because as we know in our Judeo-Christian ethics, this is the season of resurrection coming up. But if you're working in God's garden, the essence of working in that garden is to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, shelter the homeless, heal the sick, and give hope to those that are hopeless. Sabrina Lamb, you are working in God's garden and doing a very good job helping us all. I really salute you.
Thank you, Byron Saunders.
Yeah, you really, you amaze me, and you still have much more to give in your career as an entertainer. But this focus right here, folks, this is one of the solutions that we can use.
Oh yeah.
We're not just
Without a
doing
doubt.
talk radio to do talk radio. We're trying to give you some tangible solutions how to sustain and live a better quality of life. Sabrina Lamb, you the bomb.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, there.
Appreciate it.
I got to wrap it up here because I'm going to take us out on another piece of history. Someone whose shoulders you truly stand upon. And the date, it's 1885. It's a Tuesday. It's December the 25th. Sarah Gammon Bickford was born on Christmas Day in 1855. She was a black chambermaid who became an administrator and entrepreneur. She was born a slave on the Blair Plantation near Greensboro, North Carolina. But after the Civil War, she lived with an aunt in Knoxville, Tennessee, and changed her last name to her aunt's name, Gammon. In 1870, Knoxville Judge John L. Murphy was appointed to a judicial post in Virginia City, Montana Territory. And Sarah, at the age of 15, was offered a job caring for the Murphy children. The family arrived in Virginia City, Montana in January 1871. During Virginia City's gold rush, Sarah quickly found work as a chambermaid at Virginia City's Madison House Hotel. In 1872, she married William Leonard Brown, a successful gold miner. They had 2 sons and a daughter. Within a few years, however, both her sons and her husband died of diphtheria. She and a surviving child relocated to Lauren, Montana Territory, where they lived with a merchant family. 2 years later, Sarah married Stephen Bickford, a white man from Maine. The couple had 4 children, Elmer in 1884, Harriet in 1887, and Helena in 1890, and Melba in 1892. But here's what's incredible about this woman. In 1902, Bickford purchased the Hangman's Building, one of the oldest and largest structures in town, and from here she ran the water company. Now assisted by her son Elmer, who became a master plumber, Bickford continued to expand the business, acquiring natural springs and building a reservoir to supply the growing population of the region. Sarah Beckford was enrolled in a business management course through Scranton, Pennsylvania Correspondence School to become more proficient in company management. In 1970, Bickford purchased the other third of the water company from longtime partner Philip Harry Gahn, the second investor when it was originally purchased in 1888. At this point, she became the only African-American woman in Montana and possibly in the United States to own a utility company. Known as Montana's first career woman, Sarah Gammon Bickford managed the Virginia City Water Company until she died of a heart attack on March 22nd, 1931. Hey, you've been listening to the BCS Experience on the GoPro Radio Network, your social network's live talk radio show, produced and sponsored by BW Moving Images, Tylon Usavior Washington, producer, Ayana L. Jones, executive director, Shauna L. Glover, online engineer, and the best engineers in any studio in New York City, Mohammed El Safti, Nina Marcal, Tatiana Washington, and Tayana Washington. Y'all rock back there. Thank you. A special thank you to Jazz Lounge Project and Andrew Julian Miners for my show's fabulous theme music and music played underneath all of our stories. Your support of BW Moving Images is important. To that end, you need to get Disappearing Voices, The Decline of Black Radio. It's an important part of your collection. Get it now. Go to disappearingvoices.com. Say you heard about it on the BCS Experience, and we'll get it autographed by the producer. All right, I'm out of here. Till next week. Peace and love always.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.